Police. Fire. 911. And crossing guards. First responder and public safety professionals working together to keep you and your family safe. Harlem Irving Plaza welcomes you to Safety Town. Sponsored by Target.
All right, kids, so I'm going to talk a little bit quiet because somebody's taking a call right now.
Okay.
So
Alright.
you're in the 911 center, right? Who do you call if you need help? Like, let's say somebody's sick or 911. Okay.
911.
911, all right. Well, let me ask you this. How do you know your address? Who knows their address? You know your address? You know your telephone number? You know all of those different things?
Actually, I don't know a lot also.
Okay, so you always, the most important thing that we need to know if you ever have to call 911 is we need to know where you are. So let's say if you're at home, we'll need to know the address, or sometimes even if you don't know the address, we may ask you to look at the numbers outside on the wall of your house, or maybe a piece of mail or something that has your address on it. But the best thing is to know your address, and if you're out with your friends or you're in the park and you have to call 911 or have to tell somebody where you are, you want to say you're in the park, kind of, do your best to kind of know where you are or be able to describe what's around you, and then we'll ask you questions to try to get you help, okay? But the most important thing that you need to know, we need to know to send you help, is where we need to send the help to, okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, so what's the first thing you're gonna do when you leave here today? You're gonna learn what? Your address, right? Telephone number, all that good stuff, okay? All right, the next thing that we need to know is we need to know what is happening. Is somebody sick? Is something on fire? Did you see an accident? Or is there somebody creepy, walking around or anything like that? So we need to kind of know what's happening, right? So when you dial 911, those calls, if you dial 911 from within the village, and all the 911 centers pretty much operate the same way, you dial 911 for Harwood Heights or Norridge or Schiller Park, the calls come here. And these people here answer those calls. And when you dial 911, information pops up on our screens. We get your telephone number. If you call from a regular telephone line, we'll get your address and who pays the bill, all that good stuff. But if you're calling from a cell phone, we'll get your phone number, the carrier, who provides the service. And we have this cool technology that kind of helps us locate you a little bit easier. In majority of the time, doesn't always work, so we still need to know where you are, but we have tools that can help us figure out exactly where you are, okay? And then you just basically answer the call taker's questions. The important thing to remember is that while they're asking you questions, someone else is dispatching the police cars and the fire cars and the ambulance. All right, so you just stay calm, answer all the questions, and follow the instructions of the 911 operator. All right, sound pretty easy, right? I'll let you know a little secret. You know who are the calmest callers when they call 911? Kids like you. Adults, woo, they're kind of tough, but kids are always cool when they call because they're nice and calm, and they work with us. All right, so that's a good thing, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a 911 call, and you're gonna hear it go off. You're gonna hear woo, 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 and one of my partners here, they're gonna answer it, and then I'm gonna kind of show you where everything's at. Okay? Sound cool? All right. So I'm going to call 911, and you see I'm on a cell phone, right? All right, so here we go. Hear that? That's the sound it makes when the 911 Go ahead.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hello, it's Ron. How are you?
We're doing good.
All right, so I'm gonna leave it off the hook for a second. So I don't know if you can just kind of look in the general direction here. So when I called 911, the information from my cell phone immediately came up right on this screen right here. Okay, so if Mr. Eber here, if we hang up or get disconnected or something like that, he can call me right back. With the click of a button, he can call me right back. All right. Then we also have this nifty little, yep, we have this nifty little tool that we put in the cell phone number. And what address is it given?
7300 Wilson.
Called from a cell phone. And it says 7300 West Wilson. Guess where we are? 7300 West Wilson, right? When I started doing this a long time ago, we had no idea where people were. Now, this, if I were to start moving, I think like one time we were playing around with this and I was running around the parking lot outside and it was tracking me. So it was watching me move. Every few seconds it updated so we could see where everybody was at. Okay, that's a real call. Okay, so that's how that works. So do you have, and we even get like a little bit of a picture. We get a little bit of a picture on the screen of what the location looks like. So like, let's say I needed an ambulance because somebody tripped and fell and hurt their ankle or something, okay? So my partner here will put in the address, put in the phone number, put like an ankle injury, and he'd generate the call, and it will pop up on everybody's screen. And then on the fire dispatcher on the other side of the room, they would dispatch the ambulance and the paramedics, okay, to come and help. All right. So that would happen if someone in your home, or like I said, one of your friends or someone in school or something, and somebody gets hurt. That's what they're going to do, is call 911. Okay. Any questions so far? No? Did you also know that, let's say, for example, we hope it never happens, but let's say someone is choking, okay? And they got something caught in their throat, and you want to help them, or you want to tell your parents or someone or an adult how to help them. When you call 911, we actually are trained to tell you how to help get that thing out of their throat. All right. And let's say their heart stops working and they need that heart to pump. That's what pumps blood through your body. We can tell you how to keep people's heart going so that it can circulate the blood throughout the body to help keep them alive. All right. So all you have to do is, like I said earlier, stay calm, listen to the 911 operator's instructions, and they'll tell you exactly what you need to do. Okay? Does it make sense? It might be a little scary, but we're going to be on the line with you. And in those situations, we'll stay on the phone with you until somebody gets there. And what we do is we send the fire trucks and the ambulance, but we also send the police officers. And a lot of times the police officers get there quickly, even quicker than the fire department, and they'll take over and be able to provide help as well. Okay? And I want you to see that the call takers here have a lot of screens in front of them, right? It's a lot of screens, right? They're not just always watching movies, right? All right, so some of the screens, this is like, this screen over here is like a big telephone. I know it looks like a computer, but that's what our telephones look like, is just a simple computer now. But it's got a lot of buttons in there, and with one click, we can transfer, we can call somebody, we can get somebody else on the line really quick. Even if someone doesn't speak English, we can bring an interpreter on the phone in a matter of seconds, okay? So to help us figure out what type of help they need. These three screens in the middle right here, that's where we track all the calls that are coming in. We keep track of the police cars, the fire trucks, all of those things, okay? And then over here, in this screen right here, You see all these little things on here, these colored things? Those are all radio channels. So when we talk to the police officers or when we talk to the paramedics, we click on one of those things on there, or we even have the little nifty wireless, right? They can get up and walk around. They can put it here, they can put it on their head, they can do whatever they want, right? And it's a click of a button, they can talk to the police officers and the paramedics and the firefighters. Okay, so we have a lot of radio channels. We can talk to Chicago, we can talk to whoever we want to. Okay, so they have a lot of stuff going on. And you see this screen up here? This right here is the tollway, 294, because the Schiller Park Fire Department, where those 911 calls come in, we send fire trucks and ambulances onto the tollway as well, in a certain part of the tollway. Okay, so there's a lot of different things that go on when you call 911. All right, and if someone calls a non-emergency number, those calls come here too. All right, any questions? No? So let me ask you this. What should we call 911 for? What types of things?
Helping us.
Helping us? Okay, like give me an example?
If someone is stuck in somewhere.
Like maybe we get a lot of people stuck in the elevator. We get that. Okay, very good. What else?
I see a lot of ambulance pass all the ways.
Mm-hmm.
When me and my mom drive back.
Okay, yep. You probably saw some ambulances a little while ago. We had a lot of calls going on. What else would you call 911 for?
Okay.
For the emergency.
Okay.
I don't see anything.
And to help you away.
Okay. All right. Now, let me ask this question. What shouldn't call 911 for? What shouldn't you do with 911? Should you ever play on 911? Should you ever call 911 to just joke around? No. No, you should never do that because it makes police officers and firefighters and paramedics unavailable because guess what? If you call 911 and you hang up, guess what's going to happen a few minutes later? Someone's going to knock on the door and ask you if you're okay. And that's after we call you back. Okay? So you never want to call 911 unless it's an emergency or you need some type of help. But if you ever aren't sure if it's an emergency or not, I want to make sure you understand this. Even if you're not sure it's an emergency, but you need help, dial 911 anyway. Okay? Make sense? All right. And then let me ask you this. Should you ever dial 911 playing around with your parents' phones? No, right? Because that 911 call will still come here and we have to make sure that every call, we have to verify that it's not an emergency because sometimes people do call 911, but they can't talk because they're in danger. So they'll leave the line off the hook or they'll hang up. And then we have to send someone over just to make sure they're okay. And you know what? Sometimes they're not. But we have to make sure. So if we're sending people on calls that nothing's wrong, that might not make them available to help somebody else. Okay? Now the other thing, this will really kind of for your parents that are hiding in the background back there. If you have any old cell phones and you want to let the kids play on them, make sure you take the battery out of them first. Because even if the phone doesn't have service, it still can dial 911. So you want to make sure that before you play with an old cell phone that no longer is being used, you want to make sure that they take the battery out of it so that it doesn't accidentally call 911. Okay? Well, thank you so much for coming. I gave your parents like some pencils, a sticker, and a magnet so you can put on like your refrigerator or somewhere to remind you what you need to do in case of an emergency. Okay? All right, well, thank you so much for giving us a chance to explain to you how 911 works. All right? Thank you.
You're always welcome at Harlem Irving Plaza's Safety Town, sponsored by Target. Special thanks to the Norwood Park Fire Department, Harwood Heights Police Department, and the 911 call center. Many thanks to Lee Elementary and the students and parents who made this production possible.